Hello and welcome to the Paterno Podcast. I am your host, Michael Paterno. I got my lovely, beautiful co-host and wife,
Hello.
Mrs. Carrie Paterno.
Hello, friends.
Hello, y'all. We got episode 62, What the Fuck Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and very excited for this episode. It'll be a good one. How are you doing?
Doing good.
How's your end to your week?
It's a long week. This week felt really busy, felt kind of tired. I think my body is detoxing a little bit, so I just feel kind of lethargic.
Mm-hmm.
So
How do
how
you
about
feel
you?
from your Alovéa? You've been 5 days or 3 days?
I think 4 days, 5 days, 4 or 5 days. Um, so far so good. I don't know if there's like too big of a shift that I should see so early, but I am like lethargic. So I just feel
Mm-hmm.
kind of tired, um, which is normal. Um, Having some like digestive issues, but I think that's normal too in the detoxing process. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I feel good.
yeah. No, you'll
Hmm.
once as you consistently take it and you get the Ace Man into your system, you'll you'll start to your body will hit that point where you change over.
Hmm.
And for me, like I've been taking the Ace Man for I was taking the
Hmm.
um the immune for the last three to 4 months. I was taking it just the immune, one bottle, three pills a day, and
Hmm.
so I started getting the Ace Man into my system 3 to 4 months ago. This this is my second week of taking the whole entire integrated bundle stack, and that first week I was taking the hormone supplement. I'm taking the hormone supplement, the inflammation supplement, the immune system supplement, and the vitality, which is the superfoods and your greens and stuff. And I've never taken all the products together at one time. I've just taken immune. And now that I'm taking all the products, the first week I could feel my body going through the detox, like cleaning itself out of all the crap. And but it's funny because we've done together, we've done parasite cleanses, heavy metal detox. Um, we've been eating clean for a while. Like I've been pretty much eating the same food since I've been with you for 4 years. Um, and but this is a different feeling.
Hmm.
This past week has been interesting because I've been on good clean supplements for a while. For since February when I got off TRT in January, I was on a 30-day detox, a 30-day detox off of TRT onto um, hormone supplements to balance my hormones. You know, the borons, the seleniums, the biotins, um, fish oil, all the different things. When I did 160 blood marker, or blood marker blood panel, and taking this stuff, I feel completely different. This is good stuff. This is life changing stuff. It's amazing that something so simple of taking care of your gut microbiome is so um what's the word I'm looking for, is so healing.
Hmm.
And people just they can't wrap their head around that something so simple can be so life changing.
Well, I think it's the lack of knowledge. Like, I
Hmm.
think it's growing up, I remember my yaya, my grandma on my mom's
Hmm.
side, like, she was a nurse for her whole life, right? 60 years. And she always believed in like supplementation. And I remember going to her house, and she always had like trays like in her bedroom, in her kitchen, and they were just full of different supplements. And um like she used to get pharmaceutical grade vitamin E oil, and like the capsules from the pharmacy, and she would break them open and get the vitamin
Hmm.
E oil out, and she'd rub it on her face, and like
Right.
um and I remember like she used to always buy books on, the newest like diet trend or health trend, or um, any like trending topic back in like the 80s, and into the 90s. And she always had books on like homeopathic health.
Hmm.
And when I was in high school, she really wanted me to go to college for gerontology, because she wanted
Hmm.
me to learn how to take care of older people, because it's a hard thing to get into. And she always told me that I should go to school for gerontology and learn about natural pharmacology, like naturopath pharmacology, kind of like an old school like apothecary from like back in the day with
Hmm.
herbs. And so I think, but the generation, like my mom's generation, so my Yaya's daughter, like when the pharmaceutical industry became so big and started growing, um, people now think like they become so reliant on pharmaceuticals that if you look at something super basic, like clean diet, water, exercise, and using natural herbs and supplements to heal your body,
Hmm.
everyone thinks like if you say you eat healthy that you're on a diet, which is wrong. Um, if you exercise daily, people think that you're just like or are you a fitness, fanatic? No, I'm just trying to be healthy. Oh, you're using herbs and supplements to try to heal yourself? Are you some kind of a kooky, like, witch doctor? It's like, no,
Hmm.
that's how you should naturally be healing yourself. So everyone's become so brainwashed. And I think there's a lack of education, both health and healing, that everyone's missing. Now people are waking up to it. But
Right.
I think that's really cool. Like you said, something so naturally occurring, has such huge healing benefits.
Hmm.
Um,
I
I'm
mean,
curious.
me and you read that article the other day where that lady reversed type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, using Alovéa stuff.
I mean, that's insane. Like, and she just took one of them, but she was taking, a high dosage of it. I mean, you know,
Right.
it's, it's not, it's not super expensive compared to other supplements, but it's not super cheap. But if it's between taking Alovéa and getting
Hmm.
Ace Mannin into your system and cleaning up your gut health to eliminate all kinds of different chronic health problems and illnesses, or going to Western medicine and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars through your doctor who's just going to keep you sick, excuse me, and never actually heal you.
Hmm.
They're never going to get to the root cause, right? They're just going to keep you sick. You're going to keep coming back. You're going to get into the hamster wheel. It's the same thing we talk about all the time. And it's the same thing a lot of these other people talking about. I'm glad there's more people out there that are catching on. They understand that the food's keeping us sick. The medical system is keeping us sick. And just keep in mind, we're not doctors. This is all personal experience stuff that we're talking about. We're both taking Alovéa. We did blood work prior. We're doing a 90-day period, and we're going to do blood work after, and we're going to talk about it.
Hmm.
I need to do a better job of documenting my 90-day process on the products. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you have something serious, obviously go to a hospital and get with a physician and get the proper treatment that you need. But if if you're just eating McDonald's all the time, or you're just eating crappy and you're not doing anything productive, you know, get in the gym, go for a walk, drink water, eat healthy, you know, um, prioritize protein over everything, eat protein centric meals, and clean up your gut health. A lot of this stuff stems from poor gut health, and people don't even realize that. It's amazing. I was going through the forum the other day and reading all these stories about people that just started eating clean, started going for a walk, started working out, started taking Alovéa supplements regularly and getting Ace Mannin into their system. And when you have some kind of chronic issues or illnesses, you have to take a higher dosage of it to let it work inside you faster. And these people, they go back to their, traditional doctors and they do blood tests and stuff. And the doctor's like, I can't find anything. They're like, 6 months ago, you just had these chronic illnesses and now you don't have anything. Like,
Right.
that's crazy.
I think it's important to mention too that um the current medical system is taught to treat you, not to heal you.
Right.
So, and that's all a business. It's all,
Mm-hmm.
to make money. And I've heard I've heard criticisms a lot online about, like the average everyday person in America is unhealthy. Um, and you hear a lot of criticisms online about supplements like Alovéa or other supplements, and people are saying, well, like, oh, if you have to supplement, then how is that healing your body? Because you're not healing your body if you're having to supplement. So I want to make that clarification. Like, you're supplementing because you've done so much damage to your body.
Right.
So someone who's 5 years old, if they were given the proper diet from the time they were young, not eating just goldfish and mac and cheese their whole life, like, they're not going to have the same problems as, say, someone like you or me in our mid-30s who went through years and years and years of childhood and early adulthood, eating processed food, fast food. So we're having to supplement now to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen a lot of criticisms online of people saying, like, if you have to supplement, then how are you healing yourself? It's just a way for another company to get money, to put these supplements in your body. And it's like, the healing process is because we didn't take care of ourselves correctly for
Mm-hmm.
years and years and years. So I just want to make that clear. Um, and, it's important for us to teach our kids too, like, from the time they're little, the
Right.
right things to eat, and to build the healthy habits, to always be active, to drink water. Like, I know our older child, when he was younger, like, I didn't have this knowledge either. So I let him have apple juice and goldfish and candy. Like, I mean, when he was growing up, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until he was 5 years old that I was like, oh, he has all these behavioral problems. Maybe it's because, among other reasons, maybe it's because he loves Sour Patch Kids, and, he shouldn't be eating Sour Patch Kids. So, um, now the second time around with the little one, none of that. Like, he's never had juice. He's never had candy. He, does not eat processed sugar, so,
It's a
um,
shit ton of protein.
mhm.
And by the way, this isn't Sprite. This is Poppy. It's amazing. If you like soda, or I'm not a soda person, never
I
drank
am.
soda, Carrie can show you that I spent how many years not drinking soda. But then Carrie started buying this Poppy, and it's got 3 grams of sugar. It's actually pretty good stuff. So
The good thing
sometimes
about,
it's
the good thing
nice
about
to,
Poppy, it's prebiotic, so it's good for
yeah.
your gut health. It's got apple. We're not sponsored,
And we're not
but it
sponsored by
has
Poppy.
apple cider vinegar, and it's sweetened with stevia. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's a good alternative, and it tastes good. So it's a good alternative if you're someone like me who, I used to love diet soda, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for me to drink like a Coke Zero. If I get one, which is rare, it's hard for me to even drink it. But it's nice to have because I like
Right,
carbonation. So,
for sure. Yeah, guys, about the Alovéa stuff, if you want to check out one of their products, I suggest the Limitless. It's got Ace Mannin in it. How do I pronounce it? Beta,
Betalines.
Betalines. That's the only word I can't say. Betalines and Ace Mannin, and it's great for inflammation. It reduces your inflammation up to between 40 and 50%. And inflammation and poor gut health is the two causing factors for chronic health issues and diseases. So if you
Right.
reduce your gut health and reduce your inflammation, you'll start to feel a hell of a lot better. But you still got to eat healthy, and you still got to eat protein, and you still got to eat clean and drink water and do some type of, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of exercise a day.
Right. And chronic illness is caused by metabolic
Dysfunction.
poor metabolic health or metabolic dysfunction. So if you don't know what metabolic dysfunction is, it's what you consume in your body to make your body work. So it's like putting gas in a car.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're putting shitty gas or shitty food, right, into your body or shitty gas into your car, it's not going to run correctly. So poor, metabolic health or metabolic dysfunction is what causes chronic illness. So it all stems from what you consume.
Right. But
So
if you go in the show notes, there's a link in the show notes for you to save 10% on all your Alovéa purchases. I suggest, go check out Limitless or Immune. But, give all the stuff a shot. Give it try it out. Let us know. Send us an Instagram message, TikTok, whatever, and let us know what you think. But this product is changing the world, and it's for every dollar that you spend, they donate the same product to children overseas who don't have the same
starving children.
Starving children around the world who are struggling to get proper health and proper environment and all that stuff like we don't have it like we have in America. So it's also a good cause. You're healing your body and you're also healing children across the world, which obviously what's happening in this world with all these pedophiles, these children need our help. So step it up and let's help the children, save the children.
Right.
But yeah, let's get on episode 62. What the fuck Friday? Let's dig into some of these interesting articles. We got four articles that three of them are kind of all the same, but they're just showing a projection. And then Carrie's got a good one too at the end. And I wanted to talk about too, Religious Business, the documentary that's coming out on Amazon Prime. Nathan was at one of these mega churches. Nathan, one of the producers, I don't know if you saw, but there was an article on the Christian Post. Shout out to Religious Business. Shout out to Chris and Nathan, they're doing true God's work. I just want to say that they're ultimately doing the real God's work, not this fake shit that these churches tell you. But he went to I believe it was Gateway Church. What's that big mega church in Grapevine? Is it Gateway?
In Grapevine.
Yeah,
it could be
Grapevine,
Gateway.
Texas. So he was out there and he got arrested for being on the church property for calling out their tithing and the mega mansion that the pastor lives in and all the corruption that goes on in that church. So he was out there. He had like a big sign and he was like, it said something about, show us your house or show us how much money you're funneling through the church, like all these mega church pastors are. But a big shout out to those guys for doing God's work, and super excited for that docu-series to come out. And I can't wait to watch it. I'm really looking forward to that. And I can't wait to see all the $900 billion of corruption that funnels through the church in America. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. Big shout out to Nathan and Chris.
Yeah, I also want to shout out, I saw on Facebook, and I know I told you about it, but I saw on Facebook there's a documentary coming out on, I think it's before the end of the year, and it's called To Die For, DYE, and it's all about synthetic dyes and food dyes in our food system. and how it's poisoning kids from the time they're born. And the filmmakers are parents of a child who had, I believe it was a severe reaction to food dye, and for years the doctors couldn't figure out what the problem was with their child. And when they found out it was synthetic food dye, which is in everything if you look at processed food. So I'm really excited to watch that documentary too. Look it up on Facebook or on YouTube. It's called To Die For. I'm really excited to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, all these podcasts that Callie and Casey Means are doing and RFK, whether you guys believe us or not, when you guys listen to us, if you know who Callie and Casey Means are, follow their shit, listen to what they're saying. They're out there speaking truth. They're also doing God's work. They're pushing back against all these corrupt, large food manufacturers, large pharma companies. I mean, these people are keeping us sick. They're intentionally trying to kill us. They're intentionally giving us diseases, chronic illnesses, and there's no need for it. And I love fucking Trump out there passing around, at McDonald's serving fries, and RFK's probably like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, RFK's like, make America healthy again, and this dude's passing out French fries to everybody.
I know, but that was obviously a different situation. It was for the camaraderie factor. So
that's what they say.
With him for him trying to appeal to the working class, right?
Yeah. Go to a fucking pipe company or a lumber yard.
No, honey, it was because his favorite food is McDonald's.
Yeah, RFK's gonna have to clean that shit up and be like, bro, you can't be eating this crap no more.
Well, I mean, to each his own. I mean, he seems to be relatively healthy. He plays golf. I mean,
sure.
The guy's almost 80 years old.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, let's dive into some of these articles.
All right. Article number 1.
What do we got here? The UPI.
UPI. Pentagon announces $400 million in new round of military arms support for Ukraine.
Pull more of our hard-earned tax dollars.
Yeah, I'm so sick of hearing about Ukraine. The Pentagon announced Monday, October 21st, a new round of military assistance for Ukraine as it remains mired in its fight against invading Russia. The delivery will be the 68th tranche of equipment provided by the Defense Department to Ukraine for its defense, the Biden administration announced. Quote, this presidential drawdown authority package, which is estimated at $400 million, will provide Ukraine additional capabilities to meet its most urgent needs, including munitions for rocket systems and artillery, mortar systems and rounds, armored vehicles, and anti-tank weapons, the Department of Defense said. I'm so sick of hearing about Ukraine, honestly. And I'm so sick of hearing about how we're funding this fictitious
proxy war.
Yeah, proxy war between Ukraine and Russia.
Yep. And
do you want me to?
Ukraine's obviously lost, right? There's no more men left in the country, pretty much. It's all a psyop to get us to believe a narrative. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. It's the same play that they ran in World War II and all these other wars, just to get us into a war. They say that we have to go to war. We don't really have to go to war. It's none of our business. But they say that we need to go to war so they can keep passing these bills, so they can keep stealing our tax dollars. And they're driving up inflation. It has nothing to... inflation has nothing to do with your house and nothing going on here has to do with inflation. Every time they pass one of these bills, it creeps inflation up higher and higher. Every time they steal our tax dollars to funnel it and wash the money overseas in Ukraine and send it to Israel and then send it back to the United States, they're driving up they're driving our inflation up. So that way, when they crash the dollar, who has all the money?
Mm-hmm.
When the dollar
Yep.
crashes here and we're all struggling and standing in bread lines, they'll have all of our tax dollars locked up in a vault somewhere in Ukraine and Israel. So that way, they'll all be rich and we'll all be struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that other article too um, goes along with this article. I'm really curious about this one because I'm sure people forgot, because all this. But I'll let you read it.
Yeah, the Council on Foreign Relations, so CFR.org. This article, how much U.S. aid is going to Ukraine? As the war in Ukraine continues in its third year, our initiative on securing Ukraine's future is tracking the conflict with timely analysis and policy recommendations. Every year, the United States sends billions of dollars in aid, much more than any other country, to beneficiaries around the world in pursuit of security, economic, and humanitarian interests. Since Russia's invasion in February 2022, so 2.5 years, Ukraine
Mm-hmm.
has become far and away the top recipient of foreign aid. This marks the first time that a European country has held that top spot since Harry Truman after World War II. So how much money has the United States provided to Ukraine? Since the war began, the U.S. Congress has voted through 5 bills that have provided Ukraine with ongoing aid, doing so most recently in April 2024. The total budget authority under these bills is $175 billion. That is wild.
I'm doing a math right now. 300.
It's important to note that of the $175 billion total, only $106 billion directly aids the government of Ukraine. Most of the remainder is funding various U.S. activities associated with the war in Ukraine, and a small portion supports other affected countries in the region.
I thought we didn't have any troops over there.
Yeah, didn't Kamala Harris say we have no active military anywhere in the world?
Yeah, but that's insane. $175 billion of our tax dollars. First of all, we're
Yep.
overtaxed, right? First of all, we're overtaxed. Tax is a scam, right? It started right before World War II. They said, we need you guys to help us pay for the war that the Zionists got us into, that we should have never been a part of. They get us into the war. We start paying taxes. They implement it to pay for the war. And 100 and something years later, we're still paying fucking taxes. And they're taking all of our cash, sending it overseas when we got people in the United States of America who are struggling. We got poor citizens or are not physically poor. I'm just saying poor. The people in North Carolina that are struggling because of the hurricane are getting a $750 loan through the
Loan.
SBA. Why is the Small Business Administration giving $750 loans to people that are struggling from a natural disaster? FEMA's got no
Right.
money. Gee, I wonder why. The SBA doesn't have any money. And we're
Right.
sending $175 billion to a country that it's a fake war. It's a proxy war. And all these people are up in arms about it. And, if Russia and Ukraine are going to fight, let them do whatever they got to do. But don't send our tax dollars over there for that bullshit.
Well, that's what's really frustrating is like I remember when I was a kid and my parents, my dad in particular, always saying like, why is it our job to police the world? Like
Mm-hmm.
conflict, like after 9/11, like, because we knew, dozens of people in my hometown, in my high school that, signed up for the Marines or the Army right after high school because I graduated in 2005. So we were still very fresh out of 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's like, why is it our responsibility to police the world? Like everyone who went overseas to Afghanistan and Iraq for no reason and died
Mm-hmm.
in an area of the world where there's been contention for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
If my calculations are correct, $175 billion divided by 330. Oh no, wait, that's wrong. Let me see. I'm sorry, keep talking. I'm trying to figure this out.
No, it's like, why is it our responsibility to send, our men and women to fight and die for someone else's war? It's not our job to, if we stopped interjecting ourselves into wars around the world,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't be so messy. Let them figure it out. It's not our job to come save you, especially when we don't have the economy or the money to do it. It's not our responsibility. And we have the poorest leadership we've ever had in this country who
Mm-hmm.
is selling us out, whoring us out to the entire world.
Well, they propagate these wars, and they've been, the United States doesn't want to be involved in anything, but if you go back to 1904 to the Zionist agenda and the Zionist movement, they implemented the Zionist Organization of America into our government in 1913, like I always talk about with Louis Brandeis. And they've been interjecting us since World War II. They've been interjecting us in all these wars that are overseas because there's, as we get into the war, they steal the money, right? And then you got insider trading with all of our politicians who invest all of our tax dollars that go into their pockets. They invested into Boeing and Raytheon and L3 Harris and all these big companies. So they invest it into these companies, and then when they go to war, Boeing, if a stock's $160 and we go to war and it shoots up to $400 or $500 because they're manufacturing all these planes and stuff and tanks and technology and all these things that are needed in war. These people are putting in 5, 6, 7, a million. They're investing millions of dollars into these companies, and they make a return. They 10x on their return with our tax dollars. And if my calculations are correct, 175 billion divided by 330 million Americans is $530,000 per household. So they could have gave us $530,000 each, start businesses, pay off debt. If they have $175 billion of our tax dollars that they send overseas, we're paying way too much taxes.
Mm-hmm. Well, think about it on a scale of two, like even something smaller. Like if you had, say, someone who was worth $5 million, like a hedge fund guy, right? Most people like that, if they're doing something shady with their money and they don't want to pay taxes on that money that they're earning, and they don't want to be held accountable for that money that they're keeping for themselves, what do? They put it in an offshore bank,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they send it to the Bahamas, or they
Mm-hmm.
send it to a European bank, so that it's not linked directly to them. It's the same thing the government's doing, just funneling money through another country's government.
Yeah.
Like,
And 70% of it gets kicked back to them. And not to mention, they're in these bills. We don't know, these bills are 9,000 pages and they got 10 hours to read through them. Me and the congressman, when we had the congressman on, Keith Self, he was talking to me about it on the podcast. You can go back and listen. I don't remember the number of the podcast, but if you scroll back, episode, it's Keith Self, congressman of Texas, and he was telling me when he goes to Washington, they have these omnibus bills that are 9,000 pages, and they literally give you 10 hours to read through them and sign them, like quick. And I mean, these bills should be 3 pages. They should be 1 page. It should be boom, 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 bullet points. This is what we're doing. Sign here. But the bigger the bill is, the more confusing it is. The less time that they have to sign them, the less nobody reads them. We don't know what the fuck these bills say. We can't see it. We're not.
That's strategic.
Yeah, it's strategic so they can steal it. And then how do we know? One of these articles too, I was reading that we've sent almost $80 billion to Israel.
Is that the next one I'm reading?
I think so. Yeah. When this when this hurricane hit North Carolina and flooded out Asheville, did Israel send us any money to help those people? Did Ukraine send us any money to help those people? Did Dubai,
No.
probably the nicest city in the world, did Dubai anybody from Dubai send us money to help us?
Yeah, the other rich countries in the world. Did China send
Yeah,
us
nobody.
money? Now, granted, we're
It's
in debt with China, but no, but like the money that we recently gave like Egypt, like no, we don't get help. Of course not.
it's crazy. Oh, look at this next article: U.S. aid to Israel in four charts. By the way, all these links are posted in the show notes. So if you guys want to read any of those articles, you can go check them out. Oh, look at that! The first sentence.
The U.S. Was the first country to recognize the provisional government of the State of Israel upon its founding in 1948, and it has for many decades been a strong and steady supporter of the Jewish state. Um,
Oh, it's biblical.
if you look down, so there's charts in this article, the money that we've given around the world to different countries since 1946 to 2004. Israel, over 300 billion. Egypt, over 100 billion. Egypt, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Ukraine.
150 billion Egypt.
Yeah, over 100 billion. Iraq, just under 100 billion. I mean, that is
Ukraine surpassed Egypt now.
Yeah, yeah. But that is crazy. So it says the United States provided Israel considerable economic assistance from 1971 to 2007. So what is that? 30, 35, 36 years. But nearly all U.S. aid today goes to support Israel's military, the most advanced in the region. The United States has provisionally agreed via a memorandum of understanding to provide Israel with $3.8 billion per year through 2028. That is wild. Now, I wonder if Trump gets elected, if that'll change.
That won't change. As much as I love Trump, my biggest criticism about him is he beats the Israel drum. And I feel that that's why he's going to get elected, because he beats that drum. If you notice, the Democrats have made a shift away from Israel, even though they still cut Israel a check. But they'll talk all this shit on the mainstream media platforms about Israel. But as soon as that camera goes off, they're cutting Israel a check for whatever they need.
But do you
So,
think that's strategic?
yeah, it's all strategic. It's
No,
the play that
do you think it's
go ahead.
strategic on Trump's part, is what I'm saying? How do you know he's not beating the Israel drum for just to get back into office, you know?
That's my only hope. I was having that conversation with somebody the other day. I was like, I don't know if it could be, but hopefully, I would pray that it could be the keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because you have to think like that could be, besides a few other topics, like the most polarizing thing that people are talking about is anti-Semitism and Israel and Palestine.
well,
So,
he just said the other day that, anti-Semitism is, there's no room for it in our country. If you speak anti-Semitic stuff, then, you got to be dealt with and all this crap. And it's like, well, you know, biblically, you know, what they're doing is not right. It's
but
it's
he's not going to come out though 2 weeks before the election and say, "Oh, anti-Semitism, is being overhyped." Like he's not going to come out and do that.
I
I think
mean,
it's strategic.
yeah, I mean, he's got to know that Israel's tied to Epstein Island, child trafficking, um, all these pedophile rings are
Mm-hmm.
all these pedophile rings, the whole Diddy thing, all these pedophile rings are run by, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but they're all run by Jewish people. who all have ties to Israel. They all have dual citizenship in the United States. All of our politicians have dual citizenship in the United States. 90% of our politicians are funded by AIPAC, which is the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee or Council Committee, which was the Zionist Organization of America, which was started in 1910, changed its name
I
into
don't
AIPAC in 2006.
I don't know if that's a true statistic. How many statistically, how many politicians have dual citizenship?
A fuck ton of
I
them.
don't. Okay, but that's not a statistic. I don't
How
think
much?
like I don't think like, a senator from Georgia, like
Well, I mean, you can just go to AIPAC website. I put it on my Instagram, the link to AIPAC website, and I said if you want to see if your politicians in your state are tied to Israel, go on this website and you'll see.
yeah, well, I'd be curious to see an actual statistic though.
Yeah, I mean, we can.
Well, I want to move on. I mean, going into that, talking about like sex trafficking brings us to our next article.
Oh, the
Um,
Israel. Go ahead.
what?
Nothing.
Um, Former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries arrested on sex trafficking charges. So I think this guy, I think Mike Jeffries is 80 years old now, but he was arrested in New York along with two of his associates on sex trafficking and interstate prostitution charges. He was arrested in West Palm Beach, but I think his trial is going to be in New York. He He was a controversial CEO of the popular clothing brand from 1992 to 2014. He was released on a $10 million bond for these charges. He
Mm-hmm.
also cannot, travel and do things like that. But yeah, him and these two associates of his could face sex trafficking charges and 15 counts of interstate prostitution tied to 15 alleged victims. Yeah, I think the more this stuff is coming out, it says that they organized, quote, sex events in England, France, Italy, Morocco, St. Bart's, New York, the Hamptons, the same places that all these people go. Hollywood, elite, politicians, anyone that has money, they go to these places. And like you said, coming out with the whole Diddy thing, I mean, not to mention the increase in sex trafficking and child trafficking that's gone on since our border's been left wide open for the last 3.5 years.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's a scary world we live in.
Yeah, I
I hope
think.
all these people end up in prison and killed.
And this dude had ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Did it say that in the article, or did you read it?
It doesn't say that in the article, but it said that it says that they also were alleged to have recruited, hired, and paid exclusive household staff to facilitate these sex parties that they would have.
That looks
Um,
like a lizard.
yeah, the men had to sign non-disclosure agreements, surrender their wallets and cell phones, and then they were given alcohol, muscle relaxers, lubricant, Viagra, condoms, all these things for these sex parties. Um,
These people are sick, man. These people are satanic as fuck.
yeah.
And it's. I feel that the people who are getting found out are the people that may have um didn't want to do something that the higher power told them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So then they get found out. So it's like, well, if you don't want to do, if you're not going to do X, Y, and Z, then, this is going to happen. Then they come out with some bullshit about you. Oh, you did this or you did that or whatever. But I think if this guy didn't say whatever it is that, whatever he went against, whatever person he went against, I bet
Mm-hmm.
they would have just keep rolling with whatever it was. And I think that there's a ton more people out there like this.
Yep.
I think most of these people getting found out are just the tip of the iceberg. I think there's a
Yep.
fuck ton more Jeffrey Epsteins out there, and
Mm-hmm.
all these people are somehow tied to Israel. And we
Yep.
we that Mossad agent, it's been proven um, that the Mossad funded the Epstein Island operation to um, blackmail United States politicians, Hollywood superstars, and athletes.
Yep.
And people are just fucking oblivious to this stuff. They're like, oh, like most people probably don't even know what the hell the Mossad is. It's basically the CIA of Israel. And
Right.
the CIA was probably in on it, and the FBI, and they they used sex trafficking to um influence our own politicians and our athletes and Hollywood superstars and United States politicians to blackmail these people. And now all these people that went to Epstein Island are have their the devil on their shoulder.
Mhm.
And I think there's like I said earlier, there's a bunch more dudes out there just like this guy, and all these people are psycho, satanic, lunatic, and it says it in the Talmud. If there's parts of the Talmud that says that these evil satanic people can have relations with kids as young as 9 years old,
That's disgusting.
and that's these people's like holy Bible. They believe in the Talmud. They don't believe in Jesus. If they believed in, if any, listen, two things. If these people believed in Jesus, Israel would not be trying to pass a bill that they started last year in 2023 where you can't say Jesus publicly. If you talk about Jesus publicly with multiple people, like if you're out in the city and you're having a conversation about Jesus with 3 or 4 people, their bill was to try to arrest all of you and spend 1 year in prison. They missed it by one vote. Fast forward to the beginning of this year or last year, the House was trying to pass Bill HR 6090, which you guys can look that up, and the whole entire bill is 3 pages, and it all resorts back to the International Holocaust Remembrance Act or Association, and it tells you all the things that you can't say and all the things that are anti-Semitic, and in that bill, and if you all the bullet points on that bill HR 6090, it tells you to refer back to the IHRA, which is the International Holocaust Remembrance Act. And it says that you can't say that the Jews led Jesus to be killed by the Romans. It says it in the bill. Well, if you read the bill and then it makes you refer back to the International Holocaust Remembrance Association anti-Semitism page, which is on their website, so you can go read it for yourself. You could, if you got 2 screens, put the bill up on one screen, Bill HR 6090, and put the IHRA on one screen, and cross-reference both of them. And they're still trying to pass that bill. It passed the House. They're trying to get it to pass the Senate, and it hasn't passed yet. And in there, it tells you, like I said, everything you can't say. You can't say that the Jews led Jesus to the Romans to be killed, which it says it in the Bible. And it also says in the New Testament, it says that Jesus says multiple times throughout the New Testament, you can research this yourself. You can see where he says there's going to be a bunch of people that cause a lot of havoc on all of our lives who claim to be Jewish that are not Jewish. And that's what's
Mm.
happening in our world right now. There's a bunch of people saying that they're Zionists, saying that they're Jewish. A lot of these people that run these big corporations, a lot of these people in Hollywood, a lot of these people that run the mainstream medias, all the people that run these big CEOs for these large Fortune 500 companies that are, um, uh, helping facilitate the war and manufacture these products for war, are they all claim to be Jewish and they all claim to be Zionists. Barack
Hmm.
Obama claims to be a Zionist. Joe Biden claims to be a Zionist, but they're not Jewish.
Hmm.
Barack Obama's not Jewish, but he'll tell you he's a Zionist.
Interesting.
And it's just and all these people are I think there's a fuck ton more psycho,
Oh yeah.
satanic, demonic people out there, and even these pastors, all the this lady that I follow on Instagram, she's been lighting these pastors up. She digs deep, and a bunch of pastors are getting locked up for uh pedophilia, um all this stuff that's happening. I'll send you some of the shit that this lady posted. It's amazing. She just posted pastor that was hanging out with the Donald Trump Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle,
Oh
and
yeah, I think I saw that.
he just got indicted on some charges for being a fucking pedophile.
Yeah, I
And
think I saw that.
and people are like, well, how does this like? People don't even know how the churches tie back to Israel through the 501c3, through all that stuff, and that I can go off. Me and Ian Smith, we were talking about that, but that's it. It's fucked up, man. These people are sick, and I hope they whatever they got coming to them. I hope they get it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all fucking sick fucks, and these people need to go straight to hell. There's a nice, comfortable place for these people in hell. And I know that people will be like, "Oh, that's not very nice of you. Fuck that. Fuck all these people. Fuck them." I hope they rot in hell. All these pedophiles. Fuck all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a wrap. We done? You got
Yep.
anything else? You good?
Yep, we're good.
Guys, we love y'all. Thank you so much for listening to episode 62. You can catch this episode on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Please like, share, subscribe. Please go to check us out on Instagram and TikTok and X. So thank you guys so much for listening. You guys have a blessed day. Take it easy.
Okay, bye.